previous lecture, we explored the nature of literature reviews. I spoke about what a literature review is, its function and purpose, and how it is structured. In this lecture, I'll guide you through the process of finding the components from which you will create your literature review. In this short video, we'll overview some of the different types of academic resources available to you, from books and journal articles to online resources, and I'll provide you with some tips for finding those resources. I will also discuss issues regarding the quality of resources and ways of discerning that quality, and I will explain the process of peer review. Unsurprisingly, books are one of the key sources of knowledge on which to base a research project. Traditionally in paper form, more recently electronic or e-books have become widely available. Books tend to fall into one of two categories: academic books and non-academic or popular books. Academic books tend to be written by professional scholars and are often, though not always, published by a university press, such as Oxford University Press. Academic books are written for other scholars, and consequently they may be highly specialised and contain a certain amount of technical terms or jargon. Popular books, by contrast, tend to be broader in their scope and appeal. They are written for a mass audience of interested non-specialists. They contain less jargon. Academic books are not necessarily better or more appropriate than popular books, but it is important to consider the nature of a book and its intended audience when using it in your research. Academic journals are periodically published collections that feature scholarly articles on a particular subject. The articles they contain are usually authored by experts in the field. Varying in length from a few thousand to 10,000 words, the articles might take the form of reviews of current literature in the field, reviews of current modes of thought and practice, and the dissemination of new and cutting-edge research. Scholarly journals provide a forum for like-minded experts to discuss, publicise, and advance their ideas on their specific field of interest. While journals are published in hard copy at regular intervals, most journals also feature an online version. Some are published exclusively online. Many journals require a subscription fee to be paid in order to view the articles. You should check if your institution has a subscription to the journals you want to read. More recently, there's been a move to open source publishing, wherein journal articles are made publicly available in some form. Many academic journal articles are peer-reviewed. Peer review is a process within the dissemination and publication of research designed to maintain standards of validity and credibility. It involves a piece of research being reviewed by other active scholars and experts in the field. Through their review, they will rigorously and stringently assess the merits of a given piece of work and make suggestions for additions, amendments, or even more drastic changes. The reviewers may even suggest that the work not be published at all. This all occurs prior to the final publication of the research. Most academic journals operate a system of blind peer review. This means that the author of the work and the reviewer are both anonymous, with only the editors knowing their identity. This removes the possibility of any institutional rivalries or personal grudges affecting the outcome of the review, either consciously or unconsciously. While by no means a perfect system, blind peer review goes some way to maintaining higher standards of scientific research. If you are curious about whether a journal is peer-reviewed, it should normally say within each copy of the journal and on the publication's website. Some journals, such as Energy and Environment, which publishes a lot of research by those who disagree with the consensus view of anthropogenic climate change, do not clearly state whether their articles are peer-reviewed. When considering a journal's content, then, do take care to find out whether it is peer-reviewed. Academic journal publication is quite a lucrative business, and consequently there has been a massive increase in the number of journals, and this has inevitably led to variations in quality. Many academics and other active researchers receive unsolicited emails from journals inviting them to publish work with them. Often this work has already been published elsewhere. While some journals do not claim to contain peer-reviewed articles, others do, and we should interpret their claims skeptically. Consider an article by two academics, Jan Babinski and Vaclav Kečer, called Representation of Ukrainian Crisis in Czech Media. It is a somewhat flawed study that was published in 2016 in the Mediterranean Journal of Social Science. On page 439 of the article, in which the authors set out their findings, the following paragraph can be found. Quote, "This article was produced as an experiment intended to verify the suspected unethical publishing practices of so-called predatory or junk journals. the article is purposely flawed, both methodologically and conceptually, and written in poor English. The reason why we took this action was that the articles published in this journal are often presented as distinguished academic publications, although the journal does not guarantee standard peer review process and elementary editorial service. The articles are neither supervised for academic accuracy and relevance, nor checked for the quality of language and style. All of these statements are proven true by the very fact that you are able to read them." Unquote. Such statements remind us to be critically aware at all times of the quality of arguments presented within seemingly rigorous publications. One way of gauging the quality of a scholarly journal is to check what's called its impact factor. The impact factor of a journal is determined by measurements such as how often articles within the journal are cited by other scholars and how quickly after publication the articles within the journal are cited. These measurements form part of the journal's position within the Science Citation Index or the Social Science Citation Index. Most journals display their impact ranking on their website or within the opening pages of each paper copy. Official reports are a very useful source of information. These can be publications of research commissioned by charities such as Oxfam, non-governmental organisations such as Human Rights Watch, state bodies such as the Ministry of Defence, or international bodies such as the UN. Often such organisations will commission professional academics and researchers to carry out studies on a given topic, and the findings are published on the organisation's websites. In addition, official data sets such as census reports, crime statistics or health statistics are created by state bodies and are freely available on the websites of the relevant state departments. It is a good idea to check the websites of the government departments that relate to your specific research interests. Media reports, such as documentaries or newspaper articles, can be a useful means of gauging the public mood about a particular topic or understanding social discourses around a given issue. While sometimes informative, bear in mind that media reports are written for the lay audience and as such may lack detail or nuance. In addition, they are often written, however subtly, to attract audiences and advertisers. Their inclusion as a basis in academic research, then, should be treated accordingly. The development of the internet has been a major benefit to those conducting research. Where once we were confined to the physical libraries we were able to visit, and our research was informed by how well stocked those libraries were, now we are able to see, through the virtual world, the content of many libraries and archives around the globe. Search engines such as Google Scholar, which I'll talk about shortly, allow us to find specific resources that relate to our search terms. Tasks such as literature searches, which might have taken days, weeks, or even months to complete, can now be accomplished within fractions of a second. However, where the internet provides clear benefit to researchers, this comes at a potential cost, and you are advised to exercise caution when using the internet to inform your research. The internet has revolutionized communication and has provided a platform for many people from numerous backgrounds to publish their views. This new multitude of voices poses problems in terms of our ability to differentiate between those whose opinions are well-founded, measured and evidence-based, and those whose opinions we really ought to disregard. For example, anyone with access to the internet, a relatively small amount of funding and time on their hands can create a website or a blog and pose as an expert. How do we, or more importantly, how do you, know that the information they are providing is accurate? Such questions remind us of the need to be wary of internet sources. This is not to say that they should be avoided at all costs. Instead, you should exercise caution and use your reception of online resources as a means of practicing your skills in critical thinking. While we talked about critical thinking in a previous lecture, for now think about who wrote the particular online content, what can you find out about them, what are their affiliations, do they work for a university or other professional organisation, and crucially, what evidence do they have to support their claims? Online resources such as Wikipedia are very useful to those engaged in research. However, such websites pose serious problems for researchers and should be used with caution. While Wikipedia is often accurate in its content, it is an unstable platform. By that I mean that Wikipedia can be edited in real time by the many individuals who comprise its intellectual community. Let's say that someone uploads inaccurate information to a Wikipedia page. While that information might be corrected, how long does it take for the fault to be spotted and the content amended? More importantly, what happens if you consult the page while the incorrect information is still online? The answer is that your research would contain incorrect information. For this reason, we tend to avoid the use of online resources such as Wikipedia in formal research. Despite this, the internet provides numerous opportunities for active researchers to find intellectual resources. Online databases such as Scopus, Web of Science and PubMed, among many others, are particularly useful. Let's take a quick look at Scopus. Through this database, the user can find scholarly works such as books, academic journal articles, published academic theses and dissertations, and other academic studies. In addition, the advanced search function allows the user to look for sources published between specific dates, by specific authors, or within specific journals. The Scopus database also indicates which of the sources within the search results are available through open access. Another, more readily available database is Google Scholar. Using Google's unique algorithms, the search results are ranked by order of relevance to the particular search terms. As an example, I entered the search term natural disasters. The top result was a place-based model for understanding community resilience to natural disasters by Cutter et al., published in Global Environmental Change in 2008. I can click on that link and that should take my browser to the relevant page on the journal's website. Once I've logged in via my institution, I can download a PDF file of the article itself. It makes for a very interesting read, but for our purposes, let's scroll down to the end of the article. Like all good scientists, Cutter et al. Have listed their references at the end of their work. I'll talk more about references in another lecture. For now though, let's think about Cutter et al.'s reference list. It is a list of all the works that they have cited. If Cutter et al.'s article is relevant to your research, then perhaps one, some, or many of the works in their reference list might also be useful. The references then are all the works upon which Cutter et al. Have based their study. It is everything relevant that has come before. Let's go back to that Google Scholar search results page. Just below the results you can see the words cited by and the number 1024. This means that 1024 studies have cited or referred to Cutter et al. 2008. If I click on the cited by link, I'm given a list of that 1024 other works. So, the reference list in Cutter et al.'s article refers to everything relevant that has come before their article. Google Scholar's cited by list refers to everything relevant that has come after Cutter et al.'s article. This allows us not only to find relevant information more easily, but it also lets us see an ongoing development of knowledge of a particular subject, of which Cutter et al.'s article is but one moment. Notice that each of the sources in the cited by list has its own cited by list. Potentially your literature search could go on forever. Indeed, let's look back at my first results page. There are 914,000 results. That's understandably a little bit overwhelming. So how can we limit our search results while still creating relevant results? One way is to use quote marks. The search term natural disasters will return every source that contains the word natural and the word disaster in either order and at any point on the page. The search term natural disasters in quote marks returns only results that have the exact phrase natural disasters. As we can see, this reduces my results to a mere 536,000. Within Google Scholar, the advanced search function allows for different variations on the search term. Drawing on Boolean logic, we can search for all sources that contain all of our search terms, at least one of our search terms, the exact phrase of our search term, or which does not contain a particular word or phrase. This allows us to control and direct our search. In this short lecture, I provided an overview of some of the main types of academic and scholarly sources on which research is based and which feature in a literature review. I have given some tips on how to discern the quality of sources, and while we have scratched the surface of the uses of the internet to find relevant sources, I have provided the foundations on which you can build when locating the resources to use in your studies.